Hey there, welcome to the Get Out Debt Guy podcast. I'm Steve Rode, the original Get Out Debt Guy. And as always, I'm joined by the new Get Out Debt Guy, Damon Day. Hey, say hello, Damon.
Hello, Damon.
Today we're getting honest, maybe even a little uncomfortably honest, about the small everyday ways we wreck our own budgets without even realizing it. This isn't about cutting coupons or skipping lattes. None of that crap. This is about those deeper habits we carry around like invisible anchors. Why do we keep spending money to impress people we don't even like? Why do we sabotage our own bank accounts for a fleeting moment of approval or some social media clout? That's stupid. Damon and I are going to talk about simple, powerful ways you can reduce your expenses without feeling like you're living a joyless life in a financial bunker. But more importantly, we'll talk about how to make those changes stick, because if you don't get your head and your heart on the same page, then all those little savings, they're going to be diddly squat. So pull up a chair and let's figure out how to stop being our own worst financial enemy, one honest step at a time.
For some reason, I thought you were about to say, if you don't get your head out of your ass.
Well, that's what I penciled in, but I just didn't read that.
When I said, if you don't get your head, I was like, oh,
here it comes.
We're getting serious. This must be those bad jokes that the commenter was accusing us of.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, I just had a dad joke I used on another podcast. Why are firefighters in Greece terrible firefighters?
I don't know.
Because everybody knows you shouldn't put water on a grease fire. Oh, they always make me laugh. It's terrible. So listen, I want to start out with something that happened this morning. I have and this is a money-saving thing, okay? I have a Chase credit card, and I heard that the annual fee on it was going up to $800.
Ooh, they're trying to rival Amex.
Yeah, I mean, like for $800, and some of the perks are like you get airplane lounge access and all this other stuff. Yes, that is true. Now, it used to be $400, and I got airplane lounge access and $300 travel credit and, like free DoorDash and all this other stuff. That was worth it. But the lounges suck. Priority lounges. That's what the priority VIP lounge at the airport. It's not like your airline lounge. Anyway, $800 and thinking about this show and thinking about saving money. And I thought to myself, how can I save $800 and not lose the credit history on this card? Because I just don't want to get, vindictive and just cancel it. That doesn't help me, preserve that credit history. So
downgrade it.
I called Chase, and they were able to transfer all of the points that were on the card to my Marriott hotel account.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. Transferred instantly. I now have 52,000 points on my Marriott account. And they downgraded the card to a no annual fee card.
There you go.
And they were like, you're going to keep the same number. It's going to have a different security code on the back. But I want to let you know that you're not going to get your perks like the airport lounges. And I said to him, that's okay. And he goes, well, why? You're going to lose those lounges. And I went, I don't know how to say this politely, but dude, they suck. So he was like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah. No, I did the same thing with my American Express Platinum card several years ago. They had gone up, I think they were going up like $500, but it was the same thing. It was, the Platinum card was more geared towards travelers. That was what the perks were heavily involved, like travel and hotel stay and flight. And I don't travel like that. I don't travel that much anyway. And when I do travel, we're taking the trailer out and drive, I'm not doing a lot of flights and hotels and stuff like that. So I didn't really get the value out of it. And so I called Amex and I said, hey, look, I don't really want to pay $500 for this card. And they said, and I explained why. Oh, no problem. And they just transferred everything to a gold card. And the gold card was just more, the perks was, well, it was only, I think, $250 a year rather than the 500, but all the perks were more geared towards like, restaurants and those sorts of things.
Yeah,
Things
don't
that
you
I
get
can't
like
really
gift
use.
cards or something like that?
Yeah, I always renew it for Home Depot gift cards because the
Yeah.
way the points work, when you get cash with Amex anyway, you don't get as much value. Whereas
Hmm.
if you get like a Home Depot gift card, you're getting like 1-for-1 exchange
Yeah.
versus like 3/4 for one or whatever it was. And we shop at Home Depot all the time anyway. So I was just like, yeah, just give me the gift card. So yeah, I'd get a few $100s a month in Home Depot gift cards because I put all my expenses on that card.
Well, when you think about it, so I'm going to lose the whatever the allure of you had the platinum card. This one was a premium. I don't know what it was. But anyway, I saved $66 a month
Yeah.
just for doing that.
Well, yeah, and it's the platinum card is same with the gold card. It's one of those metal, bigger
Yeah.
metal type cards, and it looks all cool. When I got it, it came in like this nice box, and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Ooh, wow, look at this!" But at the end of the day, it just actually doesn't fit very well in my damn wallet.
The funny
It's a
thing is that
pain.
that box was something appropriate you could use to bury your finances in.
Well, I don't know how we got onto card rewards and stuff, but today we're going to be talking about mortgages and car payments and debt payments and lions and tigers and bears. Oh my!
Yeah, I mean, just common sense stuff. Now, I always say that debt is nothing more than math wrapped in emotion. And most of the reasons why people spend are because of emotion and what they want other people to think about them. And as you get older, you just realize that a lot of that stuff just really doesn't matter.
And Steve just got a package.
I think I did.
I know you did.
Oh, wait, no, it's
I know you
incoming.
got. I know you got multiple packages.
Yeah. They're still putting them in the box. There'll be another clunk here in a minute. So, and none of that stuff really matters. Like, I think when I was younger that I actually cared about what other people thought. And then I don't care because why am I going to spend more money to buy something that might impress somebody else? There's no return on that. I would rather be happy than have the latest thing.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of the latest thing, let's talk about like cars, for example. The smartest thing that you can do when you buy a car is not to buy a new car, except in some very specific situations, because if you buy a car that's between 2 and 4 years old, you can oftentimes get not the third-party warranty, but you can get the manufacturer's extended warranty and still have all the same sort of protections, but you won't take the 40 to 50% depreciation hit on that thing when it rolls off the lot. So you're going to be able to buy more car for your money. And these days, cars are pretty reliable.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually talking with a potential client a week or two ago, and they were in their mid-60s, and they had no retirement, and they were obviously, scared about. I'm not sure how this is going to play out.
Yeah, as they should be.
And so we were talking, and he goes, I can't even tell you where all the money got spent. He goes, I know I can tell you it was just on stuff, but he goes, at this point in my life, if I could go back to when I was 30, I would do everything completely different. And, because you have that hyperbolic discounting factor working, right?
My life is complete that I passed that word on to you.
Yeah, because it's that whole, you put more emphasis on the small things, the decisions today versus, what's going to be happening in the future and the, the outcome or the effect of the decisions you're making today. And, when you start talking about cars and car payments, yeah, you want to buy a used car, but at the end of the day, car payments have gotten so ridiculous now. I mean,
they're mortgages.
They're financing 7 years, 8 years. And, you want to A new truck, oh, that's $100,000. And it's gotten to,
I saw an 8-year loan.
yeah. And it's at the point, and again, Americans, right? Payment plan away from happiness. It's like,
Yeah.
what's the payment on that? Oh, and they do a budget. Oh, I can afford that. Well,
Yeah.
no, you can't afford that unless you're set for retirement, and that's on autopilot. And I got to tell you, what you think you need today to retire is not enough.
No.
When you start when I was in college, how many years ago was that, Steve? 25 years ago.
You're an old fart.
I remember sitting in my dorm room, and I used to do a lot of network marketing things back in the day and figure out ways to make extra money and all that kind of stuff. And I remember sitting there going, if I could just come up with a way to make $10,000 a month, I would be just set for life, basically. That was it kind of in my head, like, man, 10,000.
That's all you needed.
That was like oh my gosh, $10,000 a month, right? And back then, $1 million was like, oh my God, you're a millionaire. It's $1 million. And you think, if I could get to 1 million by the time I retire,
I'll be set.
I'll be set. I'll have $1 million. I'll live off the interest. It'll be easy street.
Yeah.
And now I'm 47 and I can't live on, I mean, you could do it. I'm not saying you can't live on 10,000 a month, but it's not like it used to, like, oh my gosh, I'm set. By the time you got your mortgage payments, some car payments, a couple $1,000 in food for the family, all of a sudden, taxes, $10,000 is gone already before you've even, done anything. But $1 million, that's pretty hard to retire on. And I know it'll be hard to retire on in 20 years from now. So what you think you need right now is nowhere close to what you're probably going to need 20 years from now, 30 years from now. It's going to change. And so going back to what Steve was talking about with the cars, it's not even about buying a used car. It's about figuring out how to get rid of all the payments. You have to, yes, buy the used car, get it paid off, and then don't buy another car until you get to the repair of the month club, where it just doesn't make any sense to keep driving it. You need to keep driving that car, because if you take that $500 a month, $600 a month, $700 a month car payment, and you can cut that out of your life, even just for a couple of years, and put that money into an investment account, into a retirement account, set up an Acorns account, a Betterment, something like that.
Yeah.
That could be will be an extra couple $100,000 if you just took that car payment just for a couple of years. So if you've got a car and you've got a 5-year car payment on it, and you pay it off, and then you double that. You keep that car for 5 more years, and then you keep putting that money away for those 5 years, that would be an extra $300,000-$400,000, depending on your time horizon. So when you're going to buy that new car that you really feel like you need, it's not $50,000 if that's the price of the car.
Right.
It's $500,000.
Right.
Because if you're in your 30s or 40s, that $50,000 car, if you could go without buying it for the next 5 years and put those payments into a retirement account, that would be probably an extra $500,000 in your retirement account. And here comes this word again, this hyperbolic discounting. It's easier to justify that purchase today and that you can afford it, but you got to put yourself in the mindset of when you're 65. Is your 65-year-old self going to give a crap about that fancy car that's already been scrapped by that point?
No, because the funny thing is, if I think back, 30 years about what was cutting edge back then, I mean, it's whatever the stage is after classic now.
Yeah.
Another way to think about it is, so you take the $50,000 car. Instead of thinking about it like, what will my payment be? How easy will my payment be? You need to put it into the concept of, you're going to have to work. You're going to have to invest labor in order to pay for that car. So a $50,000 car is going to cost you about 1,300 hours of labor. Do you really want to have to commit yourself to that?
Yeah. Yeah. And all you have to do is go to Google. Google, AI, they use AI now. It's super easy. You don't even have to know how to use a financial calculator anymore. All you have to do is go to Google and say, if this car is $50,000, you just put, what is the value of $50,000 compounded monthly invested at 8% interest in 30 years? You just have to write it in Google, and then boom.
Yeah.
it'll tell you what it is. And whatever that number is pretty much what that car is going to actually cost you. If your options are buy it or keep the car I have, continue to drive that for the next 4 or 5 years, and then take this $500, $600, $700 a month payment that I was about to commit myself to and put it in an Acorns account or something like that. It doesn't have to be fancy.
So
you
speaking of Acorns, I'm going to go back. It's been 4 months now, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Since we first talked about it. And in my Acorns account, I put $50 a week, and then I round up my transactions. So that's probably, what are you clicking?
How do you hear that? Damn it.
You have a good microphone.
My fidget magnet.
Oh, throw it on the other side of the room. So
I put it away.
Okay. So I probably invest $300 a month in the Acorns account. And right now it's worth about $1,500. As of today, it's about a 8% return. So, if you can find a way to save $300 a month and just start putting it away, that will truly add up. In fact, Acorns will tell me $300 a month for the next, let's call it 30 years, is almost $400,000.
Yeah. And we're talking about car payments right now, but it could be anything, right? The concept is, what are you spending money on today that is really going to be no consequence to you in the future?
Yeah.
Or that you don't even really need.
Yeah. My credit card annual fee that I just saved $66 a month on.
Well, not only that, just credit card debt in general. So forget about a car. If you're carrying 50 grand in credit card debt,
yeah,
that's even same principle, but even worse. You need to get rid of that debt. I don't care if you file bankruptcy. I don't care if you negotiate and settle the debt. I don't even care if you Dave Ramsey the hell out of it. I don't care, but it is way too expensive to hold. If you have credit card debt and you're just like, I'm paying the minimum payments, things are going to get better, I'm going to get in a separate job, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get this paid off. No. If your budget is such that you can barely afford the minimum payments, or even worse, you're paying the minimum payments, but the balances are still going up because you're still using the cards, you need to just rip the I don't care if you file bankruptcy. I don't care what you think people are going to think. I don't care if you settle the debt. It doesn't matter. You need to figure out a strategy and a plan to get rid of that debt as quickly as you can, and take that $1,000 a month, take that $1,500 a month, and put that in your retirement account. Once you max out retirement accounts, put it into an investment account. When you're 65, when you're 70 years old, you will be thankful. Because if you don't do it, you'll be like that. Yeah, you'll be like that guy I was talking with 2 weeks ago. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. And he carried credit card debt most of his life.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I've carried a balance on a card in decades.
I know, and unfortunately, you're in the minority.
Yeah, I know. But I learned, one of the things I've always said, and I hear you repeating these days, is, there's no sense wasting a perfectly good mistake, and let's do better moving forward. Yeah. And that was a lesson I learned after my bankruptcy. It really sucked to go through all of that. Let's do better moving forward. So if you find yourself in your 40s, right, and you're struggling and just making payments and you don't see any way to get yourself out and there's no more hours you can work and all that other stuff, then you might have to do some of the things that Damon just talked about, or you might have to talk to Damon and get some ideas, and you can reach him at damonday.com, DAMONDAY.com, and, ring his bell, talk to him for some ideas. But instead of worrying about what somebody else is going to think about how you conquer your debt today, do it for your future self. I bet that 65, 75-year-old guy that you were just talking about is not going to say to himself, oh, I'm glad I didn't tackle my debt 40 years ago.
Yeah. And since you're getting on me for clicking, what kind of force air systems you got going on in there?
Oh, you heard it go on?
Oh, yeah. It's loud, bro.
Okay. It's the dehumidifier. Let me turn that off.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, if you're going to be worried about what somebody thinks about you, you should be worried about what your future self is going to think about you. And not just that, your kids, your spouse, right? Because it's not just about you, it's about, hey, if you get to retirement and you have kids and you did not do what you should do, you're going to be having to lean on your family for
Yeah.
help.
And they're going to be struggling.
Yeah. Do you want to do that? Do you want to be a potential burden on your kids when you're 70 or 80 years old? And again, this is not about beating you up over decisions that have already been made. What's been made has been made. It doesn't matter. This is like
Right.
Steve said, it's about, okay, how do we do better moving forward? I don't care if you're 55 years old. I don't care if you're 60. I don't
Right.
care if you're 65. We
Let's
have
just
to
do
start.
better.
Yeah, we have to start somewhere. Even if you're 65, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to retire. I have no retirement. Okay. But at the same time, you might also be sitting there with the car payment, with a mortgage payment, with credit card payments. Okay, here's where we're going to start. We're going to get out of as many of these payments as we can, as quickly as we can, because that's usually easier than saying, oh, I'm going to go get a fourth job so I can make an extra $1,500. It's easier to tell Chase, I'm just not going to send that payment.
Yeah, I know. You know, when you ask people, would you rather be debt-free in 120 days, or do you want to work a fourth job and never have any time to yourself or your family? You know, people would be like, that's a no-brainer. Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, you got to get out of the debt, car debt. And we haven't even talked about housing yet, you know, because you start seeing this stuff online about, oh, you know, these guys on Facebook and TikTok and these investor guys, and, oh, you know, you want to rent where you live and, you know, buy investment properties. You know what? I think if you can afford to do it, you should buy a house, a place to live.
A place to live.
Yeah.
Not an investment.
Yeah, place to live. When you start looking at, you know, the average American, especially the average retired person, a large portion of their net worth is in the house they bought 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And that gives them options, especially when you think of, if you rent for most of your working life, chances are you're going to be renting when you retire, because you're not going to be able to purchase a house when you retire because you've never had a house before. And one way you can more easily retire is have a place to live that is paid off.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same as having an extra $1 million or $2 million, depending on where you're living, in the bank, and having to use that interest or that return on that money or that return on your retirement portfolio in order to pay rent somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, a paid off house still isn't free. You still have, you know, maintenance and stuff like that, but you have the equity.
Yeah. But there's a but. Yeah. Well, not only do you have the equity, the maintenance and all that stuff is still going to be less expensive than rent on a comparable house. And, you know, a lot of people think, oh my gosh, rent is so high right now. In 2025, rent is astronomical. And you're right. Rent is so high, right? Mortgage payments are high. Rent is high. Everything's high. But you know what? In 2045, 20 years from now, you're not going to look back and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe how high mortgage payments and rent was in 2025. You're going to look back and go, I wish the prices were as low as they were in 2025. Man, I can't barely get an apartment for what I used to be able to rent a house for in 2025.
Yeah.
Right? Because what were you all saying in 2004?
Yeah, that it's, you know, prices are astronomical. Nobody's going to be able to get into a house.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait till they drop.
Yeah. Prices at an all-time high. Now in 2025, you're going, I wish this house was as cheap as it was in 2004 so I could afford to buy it.
Right. Well, it's the same thing it's going to be in, you know, 10, 20 years. I'm just glad that I own a house.
That's my point. In 24. Oh, Steve, tell that story if you want to, that we talked about the other day about the house, if you want to share it.
Well, my mortgage payment is less than it would cost me to rent a one-bedroom apartment.
But Steve, you shouldn't buy a house. You should just rent where you live. It doesn't make sense to buy a house.
Okay, first off, that's not good logic.
But I saw it on Facebook, so it must be true.
Yeah, but here's the big but is you don't overbuy, right? You buy what you can afford. And if you look at how housing values have accelerated, I mean, the first 8 years or something that I owned this house, it wasn't like going up dramatically, but then COVID hit and the house values pretty much doubled. And
Yeah.
that's all equity.
Yeah. And we're not talking short term. We're not saying, hey, houses always go up no matter what. You buy a house and don't worry about it,
Yeah.
because you could buy a house and you don't know where the peak is until, the future, right? So you could buy a house and look at, if you bought a house in 2003, 2004, you probably wanted to, punch yourself in the face
Yeah.
after you bought that house, because for the next 7, 8, 9, 10 years, you're like, oh my, I'm upside down, I'm upside. But if you're buying a place to live and you
Right.
can afford the payment, right? And you're not buying a place that you're going to need to sell and move in the next 2 or 3 years, long term, anybody that bought a house in 2004 and just stayed living there did fine.
Yeah.
If you tried to sell it in 2010, you took a huge bath and I hate real estate, I'm never buying a house again. But, that's the way it works. But we're talking long term. One of your retirement goals should be to figure out a way to own, free and clear, minus, taxes, the place that you are going to be living for a large chunk of your retirement. If
If
you
you
can
want
do
to,
that, you're going to be ahead of most people.
yes. Now, if you want to get involved in real estate investing, there are ways that you can do that you can control. We On a past show, we talked about a company called Arrived, where you can like buy a fractional ownership of a rental property, or they have a fund that you can invest in that goes towards buying rental properties. And I was a big spender. I put all of $100 in, but they guarantee a 4% return. And all right, I mean, it's okay. I tested it out. And it, works fine. They have a bunch of properties that you can invest in if that's what you want to do. But I have a smaller tip, Damon, speaking of houses. And you can relate to this. So one of the things you can do is in your house, if you don't have a smart thermostat, buy one, because devices like a Nest or an Ecobee thermostat can reduce your energy use by 10 to 15% a year. One of the things I love about those is that they actually have an eco mode. So it can tell if nobody's home, and it can, raise or lower whatever the set price is. Temperature based on heating and cooling. And if you do that for just 8 hours a day, you adjust the temperature like 7 or 10 degrees when nobody's there. It'll save you a little over 10% a year on your energy bill.
Yeah.
Now,
And go ahead.
no, you've got that gotcha
Yes.
thing with your electric company, where there's that
Oh.
window of time where they really screw you.
Yeah. Well, we're out here in Phoenix, obviously. So, AC is a big deal. And, your electric bill can be, $600-700, depending on, when your house was built and the quality of the windows and insulation and all of that stuff. So yeah, minor adjustments in a place like this can really make a big difference. And I don't know if they do this all over the country, but out here, with the way they do the electricity, they have different rates for different times of the day. I'm sure a lot of
Mhm.
other areas do this too, where it's like a lot more expensive if you want energy when everybody else wants energy.
Right. Right.
So they do these little gimmicks and things that if you're smart and you could take advantage of them, you could save a lot of money. But what Steve mentioned, the gimmick, you mess up one little hour, during the month, and all of a sudden your bill could easily be $200 higher that month because you accidentally plugged in your Tesla between 4 and 7 o'clock p.m. And
Right.
that one mess up screwed up your whole bill because it increased the multiplier of the entire monthly bill for that 1 hour. But by using those smart thermostats and things like that, so you can control that both when you're on site and remotely, depending on what your electric bill is normally, that might be one way. With just your electric bill, you could maybe save yourself $100 a month and put that into a retirement account just by buying a Nest thermostat.
We both have Teslas, and so My electric company, if I charge between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m., it's 3 cents a kilowatt hour. It's
Yeah,
ridiculously cheap.
yeah, that's what mine is. Yeah, the
Yeah.
super off peak.
Yeah. So I just have all the timers, the schedule in the car, everything else. It won't charge until rates get cheap.
Yeah. And I mean, I just use Tesla as an example. I mean, the air conditioners are definitely a much bigger draw than the Tesla. But, I didn't even notice when I bought the Tesla, I didn't notice a difference. I'm sure if I dove into the numbers, I could figure it out. But it was such a small bump, and I'm sure there was a bump of having that Tesla full every day. And we drive, and Steve can attest to this, we drive the crap out of that Tesla.
Mhm.
Steve, I put more miles on my one Tesla than Steve does on both of his combined, and then
In a
some.
year.
But I didn't even notice the difference. It really is not that big a deal the way I have my electricity plan set up. But it saved me at least $800 a month in gas, diesel fuel
Yeah.
and gas, because we don't drive our two other cars nearly as much. My wife and I fight over the Tesla now. Whenever the Tesla's available, that's the one that gets taken, because it's, a dollar or two a day to have a full tank. I mean, that's real. If anything, we're probably maybe spending $40 a month on
Well,
fuel. And
you can
I
actually,
put like 3,000 to 5,000 miles on that Tesla every month. I drive a lot.
yeah, we probably drive maybe 1,500 a month. That would be a big month. But my average charging bill for charging at home, and my fuel bill for those cars is about $12 a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
So there's lots of ways you can save money if you just start looking at some of the stuff. We like to pick on cars, but especially debt. But if you really sat down, came up with a spending plan, went through a budget, really looked at what you were spending and why, a lot of things might just seem insignificant. Like I just saw a charge on my statement the other day for freaking Peacock, the TV
Yeah.
network or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think when I signed up, it was $1.99, and there was a movie on it or a show or something that I don't even remember. And then it was only like $1.99 a month for a while, right? They lull you to sleep, right? And then the other day I saw it was like $8.99, and I'm like, Peacock, but do we even? And I went and looked. I'm like, we don't even watch anything on this. I'm paying $8.99, $9. Now you might think, who cares? It's $9. Yeah, but you find 10 things like that you don't need, that you didn't even know you were paying for. All of a sudden, that's $100 a month that could go into your Acorns account. $100 a month over the next 30 years at 8% is about 30 grand.
Yeah.
So no, is it 30 grand? I think it was. No. It's more than that. Maybe I'm missing a zero in there. It could be 300. I'm not sure what it is. Anyway, it's a lot of money.
Now,
I don't need Peacock that bad.
the other thing that, because my electric company charges me a lower rate after 10 p.m., the other thing we do after 10 p.m. is run the dishwasher.
Yeah.
So at 3 cents, a kilowatt hour, it's just all about scheduling things.
Yeah, exactly. I just, speaking of which, I just put it into Google because I was curious. So the 100 a month, after 30 years at 8% interest would be $149,000. So if you can go through your budget, and almost anybody can go through their budget and find $100 a month. And if you got credit card debt, we could probably find $500 a month or $1,000 a month.
Oh, yeah.
100 should be easy.
I remember one of my first clients I had way back in the day. Her name was Crystal. And so Crystal gave me all her bills for me to review and see where her money was going. And I talked to her the next week and I said, Crystal, why are you paying for 2 alarm services for your house? She had no idea. She had never, looked at the bills, never looked at the subscriptions or anything else. I ended up saving her a bunch of money just by cutting out stuff that she was paying for needlessly.
Yeah.
Now, I have some bad news for you, Damon.
No.
We are, well, you're going to get it whether you want it or not. We're running short of time, but I still have 5 pages of tips that I haven't gotten to. And half of the page was the introduction that I read. that I did initially. But I still have 5 more after that. And there are lots of ways to cut your bills, cut money. But what I would say to people is that, first off, I sigh because I have no better advice than everyone should talk to Damon, because he can help spot things that are easy for you to take care of that will make you wealthier in retirement without radically changing your life, not by some magic or, voodoo or a magic wand, but just because he and I both have experience over the years in helping people deal with these things and find that money that's just being, I was going to say pissed away.
Wasted.
Wasted. Okay. Thank you. Wasted every month. And you will retire with a lot more money.
Yeah, you don't want to reach 65 and have regrets of, carrying credit card debt or just constantly having a new car payment. And, if you just get the credit card debt's the easier thing to get rid of. A lot of people are attached to their cars. If you don't want to drive a beater, don't carry credit card debt. If you don't carry credit card debt, you can have a little bit nicer car and still have a retirement. But get out of the debt.
How do you really feel?
I feel like they should get out of debt.
Okay. Well, that's perfect. All right. So, Damon, I think we should leave it there. We've got from my notes, another 3 podcasts to make out of this.
Sweet.
Many more tips. So until next time, Damon, I will see ya.
Peace.